Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. If you're first time here, do hit that subscribe button and the like button too. And yes, what an awesome show and guest we have today. And before we jump in, we're going to say a quick hello to our co host from all the way from New York, also the star of the mechanical realm. My good brother, Gene, how are you, brother?
Hey, bro. Doing awesome. Thank you. Another great show. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, being here with us. It's really good to see you all. And welcome our guests tonight. Had a good week, guys. So I hope everybody did too. So ready for a really super great show tonight. It's awesome to be here with you all. Thank you. Thanks, Vika.
Oh yeah, brother, absolutely. And next we have our next panelist, Keith Cameron Smith, also the star of The Mechanical Realm. How are you, brother Keith? All the way from
Hey,
Florida.
hey, Vika. Hey, Gene. Hey, Tyler. Looking forward to the show. I'm gonna just sit back a little bit tonight and let Tyler do what he does. I'm anxious to hear what he says. I've heard a lot of his TikToks and enjoyed them very much. Tyler, you're doing some great work. So hopefully everybody will take something away from this that we can start sharing with friends and family tomorrow. Maybe in drips and drops instead of a fire hose, but I know I've done that too, bro. It doesn't go over too well, but anyway, looking forward to having a good show.
Oh
Yeah, I learned
yeah,
the
and I,
fire hose thing. No bueno on the fire hose.
oh yeah, absolutely, brother. And our today's guest, as everybody saw it, Tyler, the fittest flat earther, right? Is big on TikTok. He has some amazing video, as Keith said, and we got connected through our one of our good friends, Snake Turban Head. A big shout out to my brother. So we connected with Tyler today. It's great to have you, Tyler. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys tonight. And thank you to Shane for hooking this up too. Shane Snake Turban Head's the man.
Oh yeah, we also looking forward to having him too in the future. Absolutely, brother. So Tyler, tell us about yourself a bit. How long you got into flat earthers and what made you start taking that step of saying like I'm gonna go for it and I'm gonna spread this truth.
Sure. Believe it or not, I don't even think I've been a flat earther for more than 10 months, if you could believe that. But it started, around this time last year. I had always been, well, I guess first, just like a quick few things about me in general. Um, I've been a teacher for 20 years. I actually just retired from teaching a week or two ago. Um, a lot of that has to do with my truth journey, and some of it has to do with the acceptance I've kind of gotten at school, or the lack of acceptance. So I've been a teacher, retired teacher. I live in a suburb of Chicago. I'm married and I'm a dog dad. And I didn't, for the last 15 years, I've known that 9/11 wasn't the narrative that we were told. I even was to the point where I really truly believed it was a direct energy weapon before I had even knew or heard anything about that. I watched a documentary showing a few different ways and alternative theories that the way it could have happened. And one was like thermite, and the other was, the narrative, the normal planes. Another was controlled demolition. And then they went through this direct energy weapon scenario. And I was like, just the way they did it, I'm like, I've never heard of a direct energy weapon, but I truly think that's what happened. But then that didn't lead to other places. That didn't lead to me digging down rabbit holes other than with kind of health and nutrition things, because that's just what I've been interested in. I've been a strength and conditioning teacher for 20 years. So my realm is fitness, health, nutrition. So, I dug down some of those rabbit holes, but nothing too deep with vaccines. And then just the past year, I just got a bug up my butt to go, one, prove that aliens existed, and then two, at the same time, I was kind of going down the near death rabbit hole experience. And the further I got down, the more truth I kind of realized, and the kind of the opposite of what I thought I would find happened, where I thought I would definitely prove the existence of aliens. I got to the end of the rabbit hole, and I don't believe that aliens from other planets and galaxies exist. And then on the other spectrum, I wasn't sure I'd find what I'd find with a near-death experience, but um, there's not a doubt in my mind now that we're more than just bodies that rot in the ground after we die. So that is kind of just a little short summary of who I am and how I got to the place I'm at.
Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned that you were into as a teacher, like what were you like specifically teaching, right? And that also helped you in a bit to understand or
I'm a PE teacher, but all the classes I would teach are in the weight room. So strength and conditioning. So, like for me, I didn't really dive down rabbit holes, but I always knew that, like I never trusted what the government said as far as nutrition. I never have been a person that believes that you should be taking pills and doing things like that to solve your bodily issues. So it was like low level of knowledge that, for me it was like, okay, they just want your money. So they're pushing these foods and these medicines and these vaccines because of money. I didn't realize until this past year there was something more nefarious to it. I'm a strong believer that there's something much more nefarious to it now, but yeah, that was kind of just the connection
oh yeah, for sure.
with teaching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also this 2020 BS, because we try to avoid the hot words as well. As long as we avoid the hot word, we can speak everything, right? So these are the people, because of that C19, they did people wake up, right? Because of that, also, a lot of people saw that it was pure BS. And that also helped in the awakening of flat earth, right? So with all the proofs that you saw that the earth is flat, which was the one which literally uh like attracted you and said this is it, the earth is flat?
um I think I have to look up to the stars. I think honestly it sounds I can't give credit to anyone else but God, but literally taking my head and kind of making me look up in a certain way at a certain time at certain things and figuring out that the stars were not what I always thought they were. And once I kind of took the goggles off or the blinders off to the stars not being what I thought, then it opened my mind to the fact that I can explore this with an open mind that maybe everything I've thought my whole life isn't necessarily true. So the stars, Polaris being right where it is all the time, the stars not being what I thought they were, and then the other big one for me has been Chicago because I live close to Chicago, and I've seen this the Chicago skyline from 60 miles away, and it's certainly not upside down, and it's certainly not a mirage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, the sky, yeah, the sky plays an important role. We always say, right? And the mechanical realm is about the sky and the mechanism, right? So yeah. So do you follow or believe in astrology? Did it change your concept of astrology after the being a flat earth?
Um, you know what? I never got really too into it. I was into astronomy. I my favorite class in college was astronomy, and I used to tell people my favorite fact I used to tell people was I would literally, it was my favorite trivia question. I would ask people, hey, do you know how much bigger the sun is than the earth? And, no one would ever know. And I'd feel all smart and be like, oh, I took an astronomy class. I know that the sun is a million times bigger than the earth. And so it changed my mind on astronomy, obviously, but I never really had a strong opinion on astrology before becoming a flat earther. So um, no, I wouldn't say it's changed too much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to Raul Hillard is in the chat, our brother from the Firmamental podcast. Then there is also another legend in the chat. David Weiss is there too.
What's up, my guys? Love both those guys.
Oh yeah,
What's
absolutely legends there.
That's so
I
cool.
Keith, go ahead, brother. You wanted to add something.
Well, I was just going to say Tyler's going to absolutely love the mechanical realm because, I mean, I've told you guys, even being in it, it didn't really hit me until I had watched it the fourth or fifth time on how important those cycles are, those repeating patterns. It's so devastating to the globe and the heliopsychosis that people find themselves under. And it's observable, measurable, repeatable. I mean, we have this for thousands of years, from the Sumerians, the Babylonians, whoever you want to talk about. They knew about all of this, and it's still happening today. So those repeating patterns that you're going to learn about more in the mechanical realm, Tyler, it's just going to give you more ammo. It's going to give you more fuel for your fire. You're going to love it. But while Dave and everybody's here, I want to say, man, I really appreciate you, Tyler, and what you've been doing. So you just popped up on my feed 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now I've seen maybe a dozen of your TikToks, and they've been great, man. I mean, guys like you coming on the scene over the last 6 months or a year tells me flat Earth is in good hands. There's sometimes sometimes even Ben at Taboo Conspiracy, he gets a little down sometimes, and you're like, what is it really worth it? Are we all the crap we put up with, and family members, hating on us, and is it really worth it? And then, man, I look at the last year, 2023, and all the new faces and new voices that are teaching the truth about geography and astronomy and history now. It's like this whole truther movement, if you will, has grown another. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and so I'm excited to see what 2024 brings. And Tyler, it's great to have you, with us. It's great to be with you.
The feeling is likewise. I appreciate the kind words, and just to kind of touch on what you talked about with the stars and thousands of years. I was doing a post on the pyramids the other week, and just how they've been, not only are they designed based on the alignment of Orion's belt, but they're built based on the luminosity of the stars as well. So the brighter the star in Orion's belt, the bigger the pyramid of those 3 pyramids. Well, actually 7. But what I found really funny was, I didn't think there was once in a while I'll do this thing where I ask Alexa and try to like bust her in a lie or catch something. And I asked Alexa, are the stars aligned with Orion's belt? And she gave me a yes, they are. And I was like shocked by that, because most of the mainstream will say it's not really aligned, it's coincidence. And then I asked how long the stars have been aligned, and Alexa said 11,000 years. And I was so caught off guard, and I wasn't recording. And then I went back to ask, and she changed. There's like the algorithm changed after me asking that question. After about an hour, I went back and tried again, and she said, yeah, they've been aligned for 11,000 years, and who knows how much longer. But I just thought that was kind of something cool to mention as you were talking about the mechanical realm and all that.
I just heard
Oh
recently
yeah, and
that
this is the thing. Also, go ahead, Gene. It's a bit lag, but yeah, go ahead, brother.
sorry, man. I'll throw in there that I read recently that they just admitted that the pyramids go about a mile down. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I thought it was funny because it was, all of a sudden it's an extra mile. We're no half a mile, extra 800 feet. You know what I mean?
My
So it's just kind
brother,
of.
my bad. My brother sent me something like just as I was just waking up, a picture, and it was a fake picture, but it was like theorizing that there was like a mile, or just hundreds and hundreds of feet of the
Yeah.
pyramid below. And part of me is like, well, yeah, they're probably mud flooded as well.
How deep? Who knows, really? But if the narrative is willing to admit something like that, I can only think it goes further than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, speculation, of course, but
Oh yeah, the pyramid itself also is aligned to the true north, and many other ancient cities are aligned to the true north, and many of the ancient ruins also are aligned to the true north.
Yeah, it's off like 0.0067 degrees or something like that.
Exactly, and how is it possible on a flat geocentric stationary plane, right? So yeah, this is the thing, right? They're trying to censor us in every way. Happening, what we are seeing is that people are doing cross platforms, right, we are going on TikTok, people are going on Facebook, Instagram, so all the truthers are then all the podcasters on the Spotify, right? So we all are across platforming, so we all help each other to get the word out, right? So that's the best part. We can, because as we say, right, as Tyler is on TikTok, the people on TikTok is other kind of community. There's short time span community, so they need that kind of content. So the Tyler is actually doing a great job in that essence, right? To get those short time span people to look into the truth, right?
Yeah, and I wish more people realize that the propaganda against TikTok isn't because China is stealing our information, and that it's literally because there is abundant amount of truth on there. And it's weird because even people I know who are big time truthers, they still are afraid of TikTok. And I don't know how the propaganda of the mainstream news can even brainwash, truthers, and to the point where they're like, no, I won't get on TikTok because I've heard what it is. I'm like, well, TikTok's not even a Chinese app. The guy that owns it's from Singapore. And it just amazes me how afraid people are of TikTok.
As if anything they have ever said on the news was true anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, ultimately, what's the difference between any of the apps? They're all kind of shuffled around and the information anyway. They're almost indistinguishable behind the scenes with what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so
And
I say any platform that you can get a voice on is like, yep, do it, go get more.
yeah, and TikTok, if you search flat earth on Instagram, on Google, on YouTube, it gives you nonsense. It gives you stuff that none of us believe, but you can search it on TikTok and right away you'll get my videos, you'll get Caleb's videos, you'll get Seven Clubs, you'll get Dave's videos. So it's proof right there that they're not censoring, or at least they're not censoring it to the extent of everything else, every other platform. And if that doesn't tell people something, I don't know what will.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to our good brother Matthew, as always, brother. Thank you so much for that generous
uh,
super
that's
chat,
great, Matthew.
brother.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother.
Wow, very cool, man.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Is Dave
So
still on?
this I just sent him the link of the StreamYard. David, brother, if you are around, I just sent you the stream link. If you want to jump on, brother, have a chat with us.
I was only asking because he was on a radio station the other day and I knew he was on, and I called him and tried to troll him a little bit and pretended to be a Glober and saying, I will never believe in flat earth because I've seen a boat go over the curve with my own eyes. He knew it was me right away though.
That's great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we know the voices also, right? We also get used to that, right? Once we know the voice, we know it. We don't need to see the face. We know the voice, right?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Get-
Yeah.
So, brother, you are the one who bought that. Saw dogs in NASA's photos and images. How did that happen? And tell us, brother. Expand on that, brother.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, and honestly, I have a hard time believing it, and I experienced it, so I don't know. It'll be hard for people to wrap their heads around. But I actually have some new insights on it, just like the past few days. So I'll get to that. But I have a star finding app, and I've always used my star finding app. The past 10, 15 years, I like to look up into the sky and see where things are, what things are. I've always been fascinated by the night sky. And this was around the time I was exploring aliens and exploring near death experiences. I'm looking up at the sky with my star finding app, and I've used this thing probably 1,000 times, and I'm scrolling and I'm moving it around, pointing at the sky, and this one star kept following me. And I'm like, I'd move the cursor and the star would follow me. And I'd move the cursor and the star would follow me. And let me be clear, I'm not saying the star in the sky, but the representation of the star in the app. But that had never happened. It was very bizarre. So I I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what is happening here? I decided to screen record it. And I even come out, or I get my wife, I'm like, do you see this? Like, I'm like, is this weird? And she's like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but didn't think anything of it. I screen record it, didn't even remember about it for a couple of days. And then I'm sitting on a stationary bike at my school, working out in the morning before school, and I'm pedaling away and I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to check that out. So I start looking at it, and I'm like, I'm looking at it, and it's like pulsing a little bit. I'm like, what's going on here? So I zoomed in, and like as I zoom in, that star that was moving around and pulsing looked like it had dog faces in it. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, is there some sort of technical glitch where, and they looked like my dogs, to be honest, my golden doodles. So I'm like, is there some glitch with this app where it's taking pictures from my phone, throwing it onto this star, and, like just something weird's happening. So, I should go back. That actually first happened at my house. I showed my wife, and she was like, yeah, I actually see that looks like this dog, and that looks like this dog. I'm like, this is bizarre. So fast forward a day or two, I'm on the bike, and I think about that. I'm like, oh, I'm curious what star that was. And I knew right where it was in comparison to Orion. So I looked it up, and it was the star Sirius. And I was like, oh, Sirius, I've heard of that. So I look up Sirius, and right away I see Sirius is the dog star. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is blowing my mind a little bit that I'm seeing dogs in the, like in this star in the app. It's the star dog, or it's the dog star. So I just like can't process what's going on. So then I go to YouTube and I start researching Cirrus, and I like doing the same thing. I'm screen recording what people have done with Nikon cameras and with powerful telescopes. And I didn't go to NASA or any of that stuff, but I wanted to see like what amateurs were seeing. And I did the same thing, and I like screen recorded, and I zoomed in, and I'm pausing, and like one by one, every flicker of a star appeared to me to be a dog face. And, like I'm familiar with pareidolia. I've done Rorschach tests before. This wasn't that. This was, well, that looks like a golden doodle. That looks like a bulldog. That looks like a pit bull. And my mind's just blown at this point. And through that helped open my mind up to, like I said earlier, the fact that stars were not at all what I thought. They're not burning balls of gas, quadrillions or quintillions or trillions of miles away. And at that same time, I was sort of exploring NASA and their images, and I started finding dogs in their images that were clearly looked like CGI to me. So I just had this huge like month or two where I was finding dogs in the lies of the world and the real stars, and trying to make sense of it. And it was blowing my mind. And around that time is also, when I'm looking at Chicago. So I'm having this just like insane world jarring, flipping upside down couple months. And at that same time is when I told you guys I was like fire hosing everyone, like my friends, my family. I'm like, look at what I'm seeing, look at what I'm seeing, look what I'm seeing. And they're like, you're just seeing things that aren't there. I'm like, I think I'm seeing things that are there. So long story short, I'm sure there are a lot of questions. Dave is actually one of the first humans to actually not laugh me off with this theory. I called into, go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Good to see you.
What's up?
Yeah, the whole dog thing. Now, look, my favorite line is "can't rule it out." Right? You can tell me anything, and I say "can't rule it out" until you can rule it out. And a few of the dogs that you picked out, I don't know. Like I'm seeing a little pareidolia, but I'm seeing these dogs. I'm seeing like specific breeds of friggin' dogs, not just like 2 eyes and a nose. I'm seeing a breed with the right length snout and everything. So then I started looking at some real explosions. I tried to find, just like going online, looking for images and videos of real things that happened. Couldn't find a single dog, right? Then I go back to these other ones. Holy crap, they're everywhere. And what really threw me over the edge, you guys remember that picture of I guess it was the war, the Russian war, whatever was going on there. And it showed a couple soldiers walking a bombed out street, stuff in the street, but if you squint your eyes back, it was what's his face whispering in Bush's ear. Did you guys remember that? Right? The fact that they can do that and people don't see it, it's like, okay, this is not even close to being ruled out off the table. So it definitely, it's worth more investigation. That is for sure.
And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you like sticking your neck out even the slightest for me, because I told probably 100 people before I called into the Flat Earth Files and tried to mention it to you. And the funny thing is I mentioned it and I kept listening and you didn't think too much of it. And then like 10 minutes later, you're like, man, I just can't get the dogs out of my head. Like God is dog backwards. Dogs give us unconditional love. So,
and it, I've come to the belief that, I don't know what happened to my camera. I'm trying to fix it. That dogs are here to teach us unconditional love, right? And the fact that dog is God backwards, there's something going on there, because words are spells and everything. And then when you started bringing that up, I'm like, is it God giving us a message or is it Satan perverting it? Are they like putting dogs up there? Which one is it? It's one or the other or neither. I don't know.
It's funny you say that, because the whole time my wife does not like evil. She doesn't like me talking about lies. She doesn't want me showing her anything evil. And her take was honestly, and I almost laughed her off, but her take was maybe somehow God is doing that to show you what they're lying about. And like, at first I was like, no. And then I've come across some things the past few days that it just too much to explain here, but that have kind of turned my eyes to the fact that more than anything might be what's going on.
Oh yeah. This is just a shout out to Raul, our brother from Firmamental Podcast. Oh yeah, brother. See you next week soon, and thanks for the super chat, brother. And this is the thing. Also, I saw recently about something called Gadriel, and the word God comes from there, and it's supposed to be, I don't know in which language it comes from, Gadriel, and the word God, it comes from there, and it means in some kind of angel or being. So
Well, and there's also all sorts of, hieroglyphics with dog people and Anubis. And recently, I cannot think of the channel, but it's this great channel on YouTube with like 400,000 subscribers. But he does something on the kingdom of the dog. There was literally a place called the Kingdom of the Dog that supposedly had dog-headed creatures. There's an angel that was supposedly dog-headed. So, I mean, there's more to it than just like initial exploration.
oh yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
And guys, I think God can speak to us in so many different ways. He can speak to us through literally anything.
I think, I couldn't ever make sense of my cursor on my app moving. I literally had used that 1,000 times and never once did it go haywire. And I swear it was God trying to get my attention, because without that happening, without that app being controlled and acting in a different way, I wouldn't be sitting here a flat earther, I don't think.
Yeah, bro. That's God or the angels that are working and cheering for us.
Yeah.
Always putting things in our path to recognize and to call us in. That's how I feel. Those little deja vu things. That's a magic.
I've noticed a trend with the anti-flat Earth trolls out there, the ones that literally are possessed. They're now making videos saying, "I used to be a flat earther, but then I came back because of all this." So they're all claiming they used to be flat earthers. But you go and look at any of their history, their profiles, just look them up. No, they were never flat earthers. But that's
desperate damage control.
You have to lie to the saying is they have to lie to glurf, I say, because they constantly strawman us. They constantly, make fun of us and just lie though. And I just did a video on Justin, whatever his ministry is, the guy that put out the flat Earth video, just anti-flat Earth. And after we showed him he was wrong showed him undeniable that he's wrong about this light under the clouds. Instead of talking to us, he teams up with Danny Faulkner. And Danny Faulkner is just a known, proven liar. And so I just made a video kind of toasting him a little bit.
I saw that video with Justin. Someone sent it to me, and the first thing I was curious about was, all right, is he a deceiver or is he deceived? And I, just from seeing enough of him, I definitely felt like I was leaning towards him being a deceiver.
Well, I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, but after he teamed up with Danny and did such a professional video with place cards and chapters all cut out and everything, and he's just he's either he's purposely deceiving, he's possessed, demonically possessed, or he's just a very weak-minded man, very weak. Like he doesn't have the ability to think through anything. They don't believe that perspective exists. That perspective. Like you don't see things go down in the distance because of perspective. How stupid is that?
Very, very.
I don't, David, did you see my debate with McToon? Yeah, I don't know if you saw it.
I don't think I did, but man.
On Geronism, yeah. On debatism.
If I did, I put it out of my mind. I just, you know what? I always say we shouldn't give those guys any attention, but then there's also a benefit to giving them the attention and letting them expose themselves. I think I saw part of it, and it drove me crazy. Yeah, you give them the attention, and they literally hang themselves, and they're waking up more people than ever. They're waking up lots of people that watch them and like, what? The Globers think that? Really? That's crazy.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So it's going. One of you guys said a little while ago that it's flat Earth is taking off. They're trying to say, flat Earth is dying. It's dying in their head because they're already dead. It is flying. It is just taking off everywhere. I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to find a show now that doesn't at least think the globe is questionable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and TikTok is going crazy. The TikTok live is now have a new kind of algorithm, right? And it's people are jumping on lives of different people, and there are people, globe earthers, flat earthers, and it's crazy stuff going on. And it's like I just got new into it like a couple of months back, me and Gene, and we sometimes jump on there, right? And it's like every kind of people, flat earthers, globers, and speaking. It's getting a lot of traction, right? Even people with very less followers are having 50, 100 people watching and people jumping in. So it's a nice way to get through too, Should check it out too, Dave.
And on the YouTube days, we used to jump into gamer streams. We'd get a whole bunch of people and we'd all jump in and just pile the chat with the flat Earth stuff, and then they would react, and then we'd have conversations, and it was actually pretty good. It was a little obnoxious, awesome. But it was also kind of fun.
That's great.
Bum rush them.
Yeah, it was exactly what we did.
I finally went live the other day or the other week, and was doing. I was working out in my garage. I was like, I want to try just in between sets. I'm the fittest flat earther. I'll answer some questions, and it was going really well. I had a good amount of people, and then I made the mistake. Someone asked a question about my Jim Carrey, Joe Biden videos, and they pulled the plug on me almost right away once I started talking about that for some reason. Flat Earth was cool though.
Oh yeah. You have to take care with the algorithms, especially during the lives, right? On TikTok, they just take you out. There are people who are doing lives and they have 5 accounts, right? For the same reason, right? So anybody can come on a live, and if he's pissed that he couldn't debunk you, and they're gonna report the live, right? So in that sense, when you're allowing people to jump in, or sometimes even if you don't allow, so always to keep the hot words away and go around, you could always speak everything, right? And speaking about that, brother, you were mentioning about that you were also into UFOs, but you changed something up. What did you really see, or did you really had any kind of experience with UFOs, or it was just your curiosity and how it changed your aspect, right? Something.
Yeah, no, I did have experiences with UFOs. I had 4 separate times I called UFOs to me in the sky, and a few of the times I got them on film. And at the time, it was still before I was a full-on flat earther, and I was experimenting with Stephen Greer's app, who I now, like think is just literally trying to get people to summon demons. But I I called things to me in the sky. One time it was an orb looking thing that was pulsing and flashing, and I didn't have my phone on me. I was on this walk, and I was approaching my phone because I wanted to get it on film. And as I approached, this orb was approaching me the whole time. As soon as I grabbed my phone, it didn't disappear, but just turned directions and started going away from me. I got that on film though. And then two separate times I'm, speaking to the skies, and 12 to 13, I would say, orbs were circling me way up high in the sky, but one like buzzed me pretty low. I got that on film. And the fourth time was the first time I was talking directly to God. Like, I'm on this walk. It's a cloudy, dreary, maybe April Chicago day, and I'm on the walk. Not a sunlight or, not a beam of sun in the whole sky as far as I could see. And I'm saying, instead of saying like, show me something, I'm like talking right to God. And I close my eyes and I'm walking. And within 2 seconds of me kind of praying to God, I feel like I have a flashlight shined right in my eyes. And I open my eyes, and the clouds had parted just right above me. Like there was a beam of light, almost like like if you're getting beamed up by a UFO. It looked like this light's coming right down on me, but it's just sunlight. But it's the only hole in the cloud as far as the eye can see. And within that hole comes this translucent, it almost looked like three balls, like a tripod of three balls, all translucent. Like, the best way I could describe it is if you have a big bubble when you're washing your car and you see that translucent light in it. And I'm just looking at this stunned, and also at the same time just like in full belief of God for the first time in my life. And I go to pull out my phone, and as soon as I pull out my phone, clouds closed, and whatever that was went away. So when I was first seeing them, I thought it was UFOs and aliens that could use telepathy to hear me calling them. I think it's something much different now, and either angels or demons. So yeah, I know those, for people who are not believing that we live in a spiritual place, that's a tough thing to believe what I just said. But for 42 years, I would have thought, if I heard that story from myself, that, I was on drugs or something. But I am very sure we are in a spiritual place now. And it was pretty crazy experience.
Oh yeah, and looks like these orbs are conscious. When you see those orbs, you can feel that they are conscious. They tell you, they show you that they are watching or seeing that experience. It's not just seeing lights, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah, I had the one I got on film. It was literally, they're like, man, it was probably a dozen, the baker's dozen maybe, up in the sky, and they weren't there before I was calling. And all of a sudden, there were just these lights kind of circling, and they were almost jumping. They would be here, and then they jump like 30 feet. And I got it on film, and when I watched the film back, you could see those. But then what I didn't notice when I was live watching it was that there was one like really low that kind of buzzed me. It was almost like it was checking me out to be like, what do you want? Or what are you? Or what are you doing? It was pretty cool to look back at my film and see that.
oh yeah, because the old cameras do have senses that they could record or orbs, right? The old cameras, and I've had
Did I lose you guys? No, sorry.
Vikka, lost your audio, bro.
I did or no?
No, I can hear
Vikka?
you, Tyler.
Okay.
Vikka, your audio's out, bro. I think his picture's frozen also.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't seem to be moving.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm working on. I got a message into HR right now, hoping I can get you to meet with my superintendent. But usually that lady would respond to me within an hour, and now that I don't work there anymore, I haven't heard word from her. So it might be a little tougher assignment than I thought. Dave, you're muted if you were talking. Yep. Oh.
Yeah, I like talking on mute. It's fun.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I fired my audio guy, Dave.
Yeah. I am having all sorts of camera issues here, but it's fun to work it out live on the air here. How come that doesn't show anything? Wow. Interesting.
Were you going to do some floating in space for us?
No, that was fun.
That was really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Here we go. That's a little better, right? A little better.
My wife thought that was real cool. She was like, "Wow, that looks exactly like."
I
how
haven't done it. I haven't done it a long time, but I did the whole house once, and I knew all the turns, and it was kind of crazy. People were like, "What the hell is going on?"
It was really good. I didn't think it would be as good as it was.
Oh, thank you. I
Yep.
wasn't even sure. There we go. What else? What else, boys? Gene, what have you been up to?
I'm enjoying the Matrix, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Busting
for
through
sure.
it every day, best I can, man.
So I have a question for you guys. You know, everyone's always talking about flat Earth is growing, everyone's waking up. And I mean, I feel that and I agree in my internet life, but in my personal life, in my real life, as a teacher, as people that I'm friends with, as family members, I don't know if I'm just in this really like tough bubble to crack or pop, or if you guys see that as well, or if I'm just like in this crazy bubble.
Mm. I get a little of both, bro. You know, you brought up something before where you said you always had this feeling about the stars, you know. To me, those are the signals God puts in front of us throughout our lives. And the more I look back in my personal history, as the younger I get, like the more compelling they seem to be, you know, that like children have a great connection to the spirit world. So, you know, you try to find where people's weak spot is or their soft spot or where they, you know, there's so many areas you can talk to people come in from their angle where they need to hear it, you know?
That's a great point, because you know, like for example, my brother is a boat captain and I keep trying to tackle the water with him. And I'm like, that's probably the worst spot to tackle. I should probably go, like you said, like find a weak spot to like open his mind instead of tackling his strongest spot, you know?
Yeah. You know, Chet, bro, you're gonna love Flatten the Curve. If your brother's a boat captain, he's Vikka's got all kinds of mariners, sea captains, submarine quality control, construction guys in that video. It's an
Cool.
enormous tool to have in your arsenal, bro.
Awesome.
And you could easily find it. Just click the web button, which is the more resources button. Scroll down to the full length videos right here, and then if you click that, it's right. I think it's the second or third video right in that list.
When are you gonna get my ugly mug on that thing?
Oh, you're on. Check this out. So here is where am I? I lost my page here. All right. It's as soon as you guys don't have this button yet. This is coming out on the next update. It's a star button, and these are all of the best flat earthers out there. And you are on number 4 right there. Right there. Hard to see with my I got a little glare going here.
Much
Gotta work on my
appreciated, my
lighting.
friend. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So you click on it. There it is. Brings you to your TikTok channel. And so we have top people that do all 95% flat earth videos. That's who I'm putting on here.
I will probably
That's
try
good
to
stuff.
steer that way a little bit extra then, just
Yeah,
to
it's okay.
fit the
It's
mold.
all right.
Yeah.
The other stuff you do is right in the wheelhouse. It's all good.
Okay.
It's
cool.
all good. Yeah. So
We
that
got Vikka back.
good.
Oh, sorry guys, I was dropped out. The weather is not so good here tonight, but still, yeah, I'm back. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dave, for all the things, the content you put together. Amazing stuff, amazing app. Yeah, people do check out his app. The people in the chat.
And now the video search is amazing. Like if I go in here and the mechanical realm. So I'll type in I'll just type in the mechanical, and if it doesn't come up, I'm going to embarrass myself, but it should come right up. Boom, there it is. The preview and then the movie twice because it's on 2 different platforms. So whenever you're looking for a video, people are like, hey, Dave, where's the video that you did with so-and-so? I'm like, I don't know, man. I got to go find it. But now I can search, comes right up. Everything's right there.
I was happy when I didn't find toilet today when I searched toilet, but once I searched Coriolis, it was there.
Right. And also if you go to the images, I think if you search toilet,
does it pop up?
Nope. I gotta put it in there. I keep adding more and more stuff. Like in 6 months, this thing's gonna be insane because I add a couple images and every day, and then every time YouTube deletes a video, I add it from another platform. So we're staying ahead of their censorship curve. That's a real curve.
Yeah.
It sure is.
You know, I was on Flat Earth Fridays on Twitter Space with a bunch of guys, and they go for like 20 hours. And I was on at 4:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. And I think I stayed on until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But one of the things they've got these globers that come in there, and like, are these guys for real? Everyone's super polite, like nothing crazy. Everyone's in conversation, but they can't see anything. And they have a litmus test, which I really like. He goes, if the Earth is not curved, then it's what? And they can't say flat. Just say if the Earth, and if the Earth is not moving, then it's what? And they can't say stationary. It's amazing. It's amazing.
There's literally sometimes where I think we have pre-programmed destinies, and knowing about flat Earth just isn't in someone's destiny, because like the amount you can show people, and I mean, I'm speaking to you guys who've been doing it a lot longer than me, but it's just like, part of me is like, it's just not part of their life's destiny to know.
It's amazing. You can you want to make a flat Earth video, go find a flat Earth proof. It'll take you 2 minutes. You can find something. You can think of something. Go find a globe proof. No, nobody can do it. You can't find one. You can't find one. There's something in that right there. Come on.
Yep.
Oh,
and look at the people who are offering the proofs, and the proofs that they offer, the CGI and the cartoons. It's comical.
It's ridiculous.
And it all filters out of the same kind of channels too, right?
Yeah.
Man, I try to tell people that. I'm like, I feel like a pretty sincere guy. I feel like I try to be sincere in my videos. Sometimes I can be sarcastic, but even for people who know me, I'm like, you guys know I'm an honest, sincere person. And then you watch this video of some guy I don't even want to mention, and like, to me, I see right through their lies. And it's just like, use like the lie test. Like, are you a poker player? Can you figure it out?
You were asking for some strategies on how to talk to people that just won't get it. And one thing I like doing, there's a whole bunch of different tactics, but one thing I like doing, that if they're really defending the ball, I say, well, can I ask you a few questions about the ball? And they're like, what? Like, what's the diameter? What's the orbital speed? What's the distance to the sun? How did they figure out the distance? Like, just ask them a million questions. They don't know any of the answers. I'm like, and you're defending the globe and you don't even know it. I know more about the globe. If you knew 1/10 of what I knew, you'd be a flat earther. And then the other way is when you have people like family members that are very resistant, never tell them. Just ask them a question. Just ask them. Just say, can you explain this to me? Or, and then some people, my Bitcoin challenge works. Just like, hey, okay, maybe I'm wrong. There's this crazy flat earther offering 3 Bitcoins. Help me find one proof and we can win. I'll split them with you. I'll even, I'll split you, whatever. You say whatever you want. And,
right.
And then if they're like, okay, where do we start? Go to the more resources page on the app, and and scroll down to the full length videos. And there's a video called the 21 Proofs. Here's a video. It's got 21 flat Earth proofs on it. They're all like 2 or 3 minutes each. We got to find one of them that's wrong, right? And then they'll watch that and they're toast. You just literally planted 21 seeds in their head that'll never leave. So that's one way. I mean, you were asking me how I deal with my family, and mine's the worst situation ever. My kids are cool. My kids get it. My kids, they probably understand that the Earth is flat and not a globe, but they don't care. They just want to go see fish, and you know, and pretty lights, and you know, do their stuff. That's fine. You know, and Paige, he's 100% on board. But my brother and sister, we don't talk. And it's not just, I've never ever discussed flat Earth with them ever. But I think they know. I don't even know if they know. Maybe they do. Like, how could they miss me? I mean, like, if they're online, they got it. Maybe the algorithm just keeps me away from them. Who knows? But they lost their minds in the COVID's you know, situation, and my mother died alone, and they were all for it. And I haven't spoken with them since. That's been 3 years now.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah, I'm hoping I don't want to go down that road. You know, like my brothers and I have been close my entire life. I'm the oldest, and I've always looked out for them, and we're just butting heads, and I don't want to do that, and I have a hard time because I need to be true to myself. You know.
What motivates them? Say, listen, if you're so true to if you're so sure the Earth is a globe, let's get these Bitcoins. You can have them all, and then I'll shut up too. And then if they say no, just say, well, why don't you want to? Aren't you wondering why you're not going after 200 grand when you're so sure? When you're so sure, and that, you know, and then just leave it. Just leave it. But here's the thing: what are the chances that you'll go back to the globe on a scale from 0% to 100%?
Oh, we all know 0.
Okay, it's 0. It's not even 0.01. It's 0.
Right.
It's 0. But if there was, but that's not to say if there was information proving the globe, you'd go back in a second. But you know that it's 0. And what are the chances that your family members will find evidence of flat Earth and be over? Hey, it's 50-50. Either they will or they won't. Okay, that's a lot better than 0. So you just hold your position. You ask questions. You throw offers out there. You know, even like have them over for dinner or whatever, and say, "Hey, let's watch this movie and help me debunk these flat Earth clowns or whatever." You know, just watch something good. There's so many good movies out there, and they're all on that list, by the way.
Yeah, well, and
that's it.
You know what I say to them guys? I ask them, what's your favorite part about living in outer space, or what's your favorite part about living on a globe? And we'll go with that. We'll start there, and we'll start chipping away at what they love the most. You know?
Yeah, I like those approaches. The funny thing is, Dave, you said I'm 0%, but I asked one of my brothers one time. I said, "What percent?" Like, I was like, "Do you give flat Earth at least?" Because he was watching some of my Instagram stuff, and I'm like, "Do you give it at least a 1% chance?" And he responded, "-1 billion%." I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
So offer him the 3 Bitcoins.
Yeah,
offer him the 3 Bitcoins.
Honestly,
it's more
I'm going to.
It's more of an ego problem than like truth problem, right? You can sense that, right? Even that's
And I tried saying that to one of my brothers just today, but like, I'm like, I don't mean this offensively. It just, you're sure you see a boat going over a curve because you're a boat captain, and like that's ego. I'm like, you're not an arrogant person. You're not an egotistical person, but that's still ego.
Ask him if he knows about the rail gun. Flatten the curve brings up the rail gun, how it can spot, you know, it can shoot a quarter out of your hand 100 miles away.
They adjust for curvature, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, the bullets go around.
The bullet drops, and it's going with the curve of the Earth. You know,
brutal.
So who's the Nazi guy that said, you know, give me a kid until they're 7 and I'll own them for life? Because they're putting in, it's literally hypnosis. Hypnosis is easy. Think of your mind as you have your subconscious memory bank, and then you have your conscious screen. Hey, I'm the president of the United States. Now, if I ask you what I said, you'll know what I just said, because your conscious mind will go to your subconscious memory and go, what did he just say? And it says, oh, he says the president, but that's false information, right? And so you remember it, and that's how your mind works. And when you get hypnotized, your conscious screen opens up so bigger chunks could go through. I said, like getting a tennis ball through a tennis racket, you can't do it. But if you opened up those laces, you could plant that in the subconscious without it ever being screened properly. That's what hypnosis is. A kid at this age, even all the way up to 7, they're in a constant hypnotic trance. If they trust somebody, they don't have the ability to discern and take it back, and challenge it. Like, oh my God, the teacher said that, it's in the textbooks. There's a globe in the front of the class, and all the movies and TikTok, and not TikTok, at Sesame Street, they had astronauts on there. Of course, it's not even anything to be questioned.
There's no need for it.
Yeah, this, don't take my ball away, turns into this. Literally, you become a child when they say the ball's not there. You're having that memory, that experience, because that's the core of your entire worldview. And then it's only when you're willing to go based on new evidence, to let that go. It seems upsetting at first, but then you quickly find out there's a much better foundation that doesn't move. A foundation that is way better. Flat earthers are happier than everybody else. I mean, I get angry sometimes at Clovers, right? I yell at Clovers, but I TikTok, though, the TikTok chats have trained me to be nicer. Actually, they've trained me to not say nasty things.
So you don't get kicked off, you mean?
Yeah, well, TikTok's like, you can say nasty things on YouTube. On TikTok, if you're a jackass, boom, the whole channel blows up. So I've it's also good to be nice. It's just like, sometimes I just get so frustrated that how can you be so friggin' stupid? And then I was like, yeah, I was that stupid. I remember when I was that stupid. I was more stupid. I banned for life came from me. Banned for life, because you want me to watch a flat earth video? You're banned for life. Banned for life.
I always wish I could go back and have someone, I'm always like, if someone would have tried to show me, I feel like I'd be open-minded. Like, I have no idea, but I feel like I would. But I'm angry I didn't have that experience to know if I would be as stubborn as people I deal with.
Exactly. And especially the professionals, right? Because what they are scared of is that all their study and their degree goes down the drain. That's the reason they don't want to entertain even the idea of flat earth. Because if you really dig in and ask your captain brother about really navigation and everything, and show where exactly the curve is taken into account, and ask him how the radar works for the communication and proximity radars and all this works, or the EGDIS works. Why is there an EGDIS, right? If you have the satellites there are many different questions if you go in deeper. So the problem is they don't want to face, because they're degree and PhDs. That's why I always say these people are not defending the globe. They're defending their PhDs. They're defending their diplomas, because we all spend a lot of resources, right, and in our life to get there. Yeah.
They've memorized and regurgitated all the information, but they've never really thought about it. So this is the heliocentric model, right? This is what they taught us in school, but they never show this as side view. So now that you understand that this is a side view, you have to think there's a geostationary satellite 20,000 miles away from Earth that's staying over the United States during all of the spinning, whirling, and twirling. It's so stupid. It's so dumb, right? All of that's going on. None of the stars ever cross paths. And those satellites just follow that motion, all curved motions, all changing, never going back to where it was before. The problem is Globers can't even process what I just said. And then they're like, there's somebody else that understands it better than me. And they're not able to understand how stupid it is. And why do all the planets circle our North Star? Can anybody answer that? In the heliocentric model, why do all of the planets circle our North Star?
Because it's perfectly aligned with the North Pole, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, but why do the other planets go around the North Star? And because 2,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when our North Star was pointing towards Thuban or whatever the hell, did the planets go around that star? Why do they all go around the center point?
Hey, I got a question for you guys. What's the formula for hydrogen and helium to create its own gravity?
A lot. The formula is hydrogen plus helium times a lot. times a lot.
They don't even have any kind of formula for it, though. Really, it's,
Yeah.
you know.
How much?
But
So gas always violently fills the available space. How much gas do you need before it collapses upon itself?
yeah, right.
Right.
And how does it find itself? How do these molecules find each other to create this big ball of everything it needs to become a nuclear furnace?
It starts with a speck of dust, right? It starts with a speck of dust. It starts with a speck of dust.
Poof.
Right.
It's kind of comical though when you break it down. It's great.
Every second our sun burns 4 million tons of mass. 4 million tons, right?
Oh,
right.
Man.
What's this one? 60,000 new stars are born every second. So wait, so you have your nebula, which is dust and gas in a space vacuum. Okay, cool story. And the gas is collapsing upon itself, making a star. All right, so it makes a star. It leaves the other gas. It goes, all right, this star is big enough. It kicks it out like a gumball machine and goes, all right, go park yourself over there and the spiral arm somewhere. Why wouldn't all of the gas just collapse upon itself and make one giant star? It's popping them out like a freaking ping pong ball machine.
Well,
it's
we wouldn't have the pretty pictures if it was doing, anything else.
Yeah. And this one, 120 new black holes every second. 120. What's going on here?
They could pop up right here in front of you too. Any moment, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, maybe they are. And here's some nice fresh pictures of black holes. These are from NASA. Cool, right?
See any dogs? Any dogs?
I actually haven't zoomed in. I have not zoomed in. I'm sure it's probably just a close up of a dog's eye or something.
They all know. Exactly. They all know that nobody is going to go and verify these black holes and all those planets they're discovering, right? No one is going to do that. So they can just keep going.
Well, the band Soundgarden had what appears to be NASA's version of the very first picture of a black hole on an album like 15 years early. Right? Super Unknown had that picture of a black hole.
Yep.
So like how do they do that? How does this not wake people up, or they just kind of laugh it off, or it's the same picture?
People just don't want to face. Remember when they had the hole? They fixed it with gum and duct tape, I think.
What?
Right. Yeah. So take a bottle, drill a hole in a bottle or a can, and throw some duct tape over it and put it in a vacuum chamber and see if it holds.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah, that one guy, didn't his tongue start bubbling or something like that? The astronaut.
I can't find that video. Somebody was trying to find that video, and I was like, you know what? I want to find that video too. It's gone. If anybody could find, you have it
on my. I don't have the full one. I have a clip of it on my TikTok, but it's got my stupid face on it. So I'll see if I can find. I'm good at finding stuff. I'll look.
Okay. Yeah. See if you can find. I want to back that up.
Okay.
Because now the Globers is saying it never happened. I'm like, oh, so NASA never put anybody in a vacuum chamber. Not one guy. No, they never did it. No, they never did it.
Ball and the feather. That experiment with Brian Cox and the ball and the feather.
Oh my
God!
God!
They have the conditions, but they never put a person in there, and then they give it a slowed down.
Right, but did you watch that video? That video is not even true. You watch the video. There's like 17 cuts in it. Edit. It's like I'm not even sure a bowling ball and a feather would fall at the same speed in a vacuum. No, I don't know, but that video is highly edited. It's like a SpaceX launch, 7 cuts before it clears the tower.
Yeah, but what would a vacuum have to do with the electrical charge in there? If it affects the electrical charge, maybe, but if not, then no, I would say.
You would say it falls at the same speed?
No, I said if the electrical charge is affected in any way by the vacuum, then maybe. But then otherwise, they would just fall regular. The feathers would fall and the bowling ball would shoot to the ground.
The feather would fall faster with less air. When there's no air, it definitely falls faster. It's the air that holds it up. So in theory, I think they might fall at the same speed. But the thing is, we've never seen the experiment done without serious editing by NASA. So we don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the different mass might might have to factor with if the atmosphere is gone and it's just the electrical charge.
Right.
Oh yeah, but that was a stop motion editing about that feather
Yeah,
and
well, yeah,
totally, it was so fake, right? So,
ultimately, yeah.
and that
And
Brian Cock was this
the
bad
look on the
acting.
guy's face is like, wow, like they never did it before. They never saw it before. It's just, it's all for the
They're
camera, guys.
they're full of it. They're full of it.
Yeah. They're
I mean,
like,
they're
wow.
lying. Nat Geo lies. They fake the helicopter footage. At Salton Sea. You've seen Jaron talk about it. Jaron pointed out yesterday that when they were at the exact 24 feet of curvature or whatever before they saw them, or whatever the number was, 14 feet or 24 feet, they didn't take in the camera height because the telescope height. They should have only been like 9 feet of curvature. Right? And you're going to hide a helicopter behind 9 feet of curvature. Again, they lie to glurf, right? Why would you have to lie? Like we say, we don't know when we don't know. They just lie and make up stuff. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
That's a great video. The catch of that's the one with the birds, that same birds in both clips, right?
Same birds that fly by in both clips, right?
Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize that was the Salton Sea. I've been there, and we were in California. My wife has family there, and we took her grandma's Cadillac. She's like, I'm not sure if you want to go to the Salton Sea. And we're like, oh, we love lakes and water. And we took the Cadillac, and it literally was a scene out of like Mad Max, like just dust bunnies flying by, and we're like, we got to get out of here.
And think about the other tests they did. They had the laser going out to the ship, and they're shooting a laser out at the boat, and they have this big target, right? So the laser is, at, hip height or whatever. And then they go out there, and now the laser's on the top of this board. Who's leveling the laser? Right? I mean, if the laser's off by a fraction of a millimeter, it's going to send it 20 feet in the air at that distance. It's like, and nobody, and the Glober's like, oh, there's proof right there. Laser hit the top of the board. How do you know the laser's level? The only way to level it is if you put it through several holes that are all leveled to water, then you know it's level.
Yeah, it's got to have a check and balance somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, Vikka, what do you think of my standing compass gyro idea to prove the Earth is flat? Do you know about it? Do either one of you know about it? Vikka, are you frozen? No, you're there. Can't hear you.
Second. No, did you put up something, or you're speaking?
No.
about
I'm
gyro?
gonna tell you about this. Ready? So a gyro
Yeah.
holds rigidity in space, right? Holds rigidity. Right. So you can spin a gyro up on a vertical axis. So we get on an airplane and we spin the gyro on a vertical axis, and we say, okay, we're going to line it up with east and west, right? So it's lined up perfectly with east and west. And then you start flying, and you pay no GPS, no compass, right? No magnetic compass. And you maintain that heading on the gyro, heading east or west. And we know what's going to happen. The north will veer off to the right. It'll veer off to the right. The east, when you're going west, it'll veer off to the right. And when you're going east, it'll veer off to the left. Because if you're heading straight, not curved, east and west are circles. So that does not prove the Earth is flat, because it works the same in the north for the flat Earth and the globe Earth. The problem comes south of the equator. If you try to do it and north peels off to the right when you're going west, that's a problem, because it should peel off to the south, right? Your west heading should be veering left, and you're going straight, but it won't. It's going to veer right. It'll show us that we're on a flat Earth, 100%. Just need a couple gyros, camera crew, big plane, and the right people on the plane.
I freaking love it, but man, Globers will not be able to even come close to comprehending that.
Well, you got to get like some professors and people that don't have big grants, people that are willing to be honest.
Oh yeah, brother. We have a aeronautic engineer from Flatten the Curve. He would love to be there, and he will explain us and everything. Also, if we need help.
And the other thing is, then so the Globers can say, well, the gyro doesn't work. We can use it and line and spin it up north and south, and then head 400, 500 miles south and head 405 miles hours north using the gyro compass, and the magnetic compass will match perfectly. It won't veer off. Just using the gyro compass, north and south are straight lines on a flat Earth, right? And I think on a globe Earth, if you could live on a globe, it would work also. But east and west are circles, and on a flat Earth, they curve in the same direction. But on a globe Earth, they veer off in opposite directions, opposite of the equator. So I think it's rock solid. I think it's affordable. I think it's one of the cheaper experiments that can be done, and it can be proven literally in one friggin' day. One day. The whole thing can be done, filmed, uploaded, and done in one day. You just got to get the people. You got to get an airplane. You need a big airplane, like a DC-9 or bigger, right? So people can walk around and look and film crews and film the people filming and film everybody. Just film everybody, so there's no questions on what's going on, and have multiple gyros.
Exactly.
That's what
And
I'm
even
going to fund. I'm going to fund that.
Yeah.
When my app goes viral and everyone friggin' subscribes. If everyone on the friggin' Friend Finder subscribe today, I'll fund that tomorrow, okay? But unfortunately, flat earthers are cheap as F. And, the $11 a year, I don't really need that. But they'll buy a round of shots of tequila for everybody at the bar. That's cool.
Exactly.
So
exactly, because I always say the people don't understand the power of unity. Right?
Yeah.
It could be even $1, right? But if everybody gets together, the amount of flat earthers are there on this realm.
If everyone gave Jaron $1 a month, all of his subs, he'd have like $200,000 a month. All right. What damage could he do with that? Right.
Exactly.
So we're there.
Exactly.
We're getting there. I think people are waking up. They are realizing, like, you know what? Let's do this, but you got to do it in mass, And
exactly.
I think my gyro experiment is better than the line across the lake experiment.
Exactly. And also flying around around the north, the magnetic north, doing a flight and showing how the compass is always like pointing to the north. And if you could circumnavigate a flight around, also prove that it's a flat Earth, right? Because there is no South Pole. Because
the problem with that is they'll just claim that you're flying around a globe. The gyro compass proves, because it works the same in the north for the same the gyro should veer off the exact same on a globe and a flat Earth in the north. The problem is south of the equator. On a flat Earth, it's going to veer off to the north instead of veering off to the south. And so when you're heading west is going to take a left-hand turn around the South Pole if you're on a globe. But we know we're not on a globe. The farther south we are, you should see it happen within 10, 20, 50, 100 miles. Easy. You'll see that west is veering off to the right instead of the left. Game over. Earth is flat.
Exactly.
That is
in the planet.
That's good.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I was just going to say that is an extremely well thought out experiment. I'm impressed.
Nobody else is talking about it. I've been talking about it I've been mentioning it here and there for a year, but and it's like people want to do, you should go to Antarctica. All right, I could spend like $30,000 going to Antarctica, and what am I going to see? It's going to be cloudy. They're not going to let me go anywhere. I'm going to be on Deception Island, and I'm going to see snow and penguins. And so we just heard somebody told us they were in the military, or they were an engineering company, and they were doing work in Antarctica. And every time they took their boat down there, when they got to 60 degrees south or maybe 65 or whatever it was, they would be boarded by a military ship. The captain would be taken over. A guy would come in, he takes over the boat, and everything is extremely guided. They're not even allowed to drive their own boat the final distance into Antarctica, wherever they were going. I thought that was fascinating. Yeah.
That's extreme.
But the Globers go, there's no such thing as the flat Earth, the Antarctic Treaty. You can go. Anyone can go to Antarctica. Yeah. Austin's been trying. and he can't even get people to return his calls or anything. And it costs like $200,000 in permits that they keep, and they don't let you go.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
recently I heard yesterday I spoke with one of the guy from Flat Earth Nepal, and he said he has a friend on Discord who was working in Antarctica and he was working on not allowing people to go down the 60th parallel or 70th parallel. I still have to I have a like we are supposed to speak in a near future about that, and let's see if we can get him along. Yep.
Who
Like
is your
that
friend
was his
from
job?
Nepal? Well, your friend wasn't K.
Yeah,
Named
K, yeah. K was here last week. He
Wow.
the first time we spoke.
K just literally gave me he's doing the Nepal playlist. I added it to the app. If you go to the languages, and I gotta if you go to the
he mentioned in the chat here
Oops.
that says thanking you for that.
Yeah, so here it is. I didn't know it was the same person, but I can't get the flag though. This isn't the flag. This is a placeholder. It won't. The flag won't load. So unfortunately, there's another festival in India. Those guys know how to party. So my developer won't be back until Tuesday. So we'll get the flag up there on Tuesday. But the playlist is there, and he's the man. He's managing the playlist, which is awesome.
Great. So yeah, he's one of his friend on Discord is supposed to was into that, and he's turned a flat earther. So that's great.
Nice.
So maybe we have some amazing info coming out of there. So the other thing also on TikTok, you see that these globe earthers, they are sharing the time lapse of the North Pole as a time lapse from the South Pole. Have you seen that or heard any one of you?
Oh yeah, you have to lie to Glurf. You have to lie to Glurf.
There've been a few lies with it, right? The first one that was caught was the cloud pattern was the same, and then they're like no, and then they redid it, and then someone caught the sun having the exact same sun glare as it circled around.
Yeah, that was Taboo did that one. On the frequently asked questions page, if you go, it's not loading. There we go. If you go to Antarctica and the 24-hour sun, all those videos are there. So when someone brings it up, you can just pull up those videos and say, nope, nope, and nope. Why do you have to lie? Why do you have to lie?
Exactly.
Dave, I had I had someone reach out to me and they asked me if they thought that the time change, the daylight savings, had to do with flat Earth, and that the sun, and I didn't notice, like obviously we all know the sun moves the way it does on the flat Earth, but he was claiming that it made a bigger jump than it should right around daylight savings. Have you ever noticed or experienced anything like that, any of you guys?
Wow, that's an interesting concept. Like, who would notice during daylight savings? But not everyone does daylight savings. But I think the main my thoughts were that the main reason they do it is just to throw off our body clocks, right? I mean, it's so dumb. It's like, hey, my blanket doesn't come up high enough on my bed, so I'm going to cut off a foot at the bottom and sew it to the top of the blanket. That's literally the same thing as daylight savings time. It doesn't. There's no sense in it at all. But I think it's just to throw off our body clocks because we are, we're connected to this entire clock in the sky. You know about the time zones, that there's more time zones in the South than there are in the North.
I've been looking into that recently. Yeah. 19 time zones in the North, 24 in the tropics, and 32 in the South. Okay. Wrap that around a flat Earth. Those 32 will squeeze down to your 24. Or wrap it around a globe, I mean. That's crazy. Like, there's no excuse. There's no reason whatsoever that we should have time zones like that. If the Earth is a globe, like they tell us, all the time zones should be exactly the same, like sections in an orange. Yeah, and isn't there some anomaly with Alaska and Russia too? There's like a 20-hour jump, even though you can literally see a portion of Alaska from Russia. It's like 10 miles.
Yeah,
or something like that.
It's like a 20 hours, and they claim a day too, but it's really 3 hours. It's like it's a 3 hour difference, but they say, well, it's a different day. That's just to confuse your mind.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But the time
curious,
zone should be exactly like that.
exactly. The curious thing is because here in Europe they change the time in May when the days are longer, right? And I just heard that in US they already had this time change already.
Yeah,
So I,
2 weeks
you
ago.
know, 2 weeks ago exactly. So they are playing with this. Like it literally doesn't matter. What is really telling the time is the sun.
Yes.
Well, and that's what they
That's
say
the
it is.
real.
They say it's for the farmers, well, at least that's what it was when I was growing up, that they
Yeah,
Yeah,
wanted to give the
that's the story.
farmers.
but that was for 150 years ago too.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about
exactly.
just get up earlier? Just get up earlier.
Yeah, right.
They do it twice
Shut
a
up.
year. They bounce that hour to confuse. Now you got to rewind all your watches instead, unless it's digital. Then that's some of them are more automatic. You got to reset all your watches. You got to reset your biological clock. It's there to just mess with us and to keep us
That's
off the
totally what it
track of
is.
time.
Totally. I mean, think about time is how they screwed us up. They're like, hey, let's give them clocks, but we'll make the hour hand go around twice a day. Okay. We'll make it go around twice a day so they don't figure out where the hell they are. Right. I mean, it's like and people we got this crazy gravitational sky, all the planets and moons and everything's pulling on each other, but it's more accurate than the finest Swiss watch. Like the movements of the planets are more accurate than the finest Swiss watch. And I can prove that because every watch, every timepiece is adjusted to the sky clock. That's how we know what time is. So it is the definition of accurate time. So anything that tries to emulate it has to get as close to the sky clock because that is what time is. It's crazy.
Exactly.
And we're the crazy ones.
And Alex Gleason was supposed to be also a chronologist. Why was a map maker, an engineer, was into chronology? Because that's how he could have mapped it out because of the sun, right?
Hey,
And
Vikka,
got those distances.
Somebody brought up the other day that on the Gleason's map, if you use his scale, the Tropic of Capricorn is only a couple 100 miles longer than the Tropic of Cancer. Have you heard
what
that?
they say is wrong?
No, I don't know.
I
haven't really looked into it. I got to talk to Eddie. I don't know. I don't know if the scale is right, if the scale is wrong. I don't know. It's the closest map we have. And what I can prove is, this is pretty much a representation of it. If wherever the sun is, I can call somebody that's there and say, where's the sun? And they'll be like, it's right above me and it's noon. So, if I call my friend PK here in Sydney, when the sun is right there, he'll say it's noon and the sun's above him, and if I wait until someone in South Africa, when the sun's over here, they'll be like, it's noon. Right. So there is something accurate to it. I think it's more supernatural. It's more supernatural. Like the position of the sun is more of a supernatural thing. I don't know if we're able to even understand it.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't really have a definite location.
Go ahead, Vikka.
Exactly. That is the reason I say that the luminaries are important in proving flat Earth, because that's how the light falls on the planes. That's how we know the difference of the day and night. And the cycle of the first cycle of the day, night, and then the week and the months and the years, right, is all interdependent on the first cycle, that is the sun.
Dave, in all my exploring of flat Earth the past year, my favorite thing I've ever seen is you finding the eclipse or the projection of the sun with the paper towel.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
When I first saw that, man, I was like, holy crap, this place is nothing like I thought it was.
I haven't found a better explanation for how a solar eclipse works and why we can't see whatever it is eclipsing the sun. Now, a lot of people say it's another body, it's a node point. Okay, maybe, but that's where the moon should be. So maybe the moon becomes a node. I don't know. And maybe when the new moon is there, not there, the new moon, which means no moon, there is some sort of node there, making the sun go dark. But it's definitely not an object in front of the sun. And the fact that my experiment showed the sun source, the whole thing, it's exactly what we see. It's exactly. So
it's so
people,
cool.
people like biblically, like, well, God said he put the sun and the moon in the firmament. So how could it be above? And here's my answer. Well, how thick is the firmament? Is it an inch thick? Is it 100 million miles thick? I don't know. Nobody knows, right? And if your kitchen floor was the flat earth and your refrigerator was the firmament, where do you put the milk? Under the refrigerator or in the refrigerator? Right? God put the sun in the refrigerator, right? And so maybe we just see it through the glass floor of the refrigerator.
I heard you saying that to Josh Monday, and I could feel him wanting to be resistant, but I think he eventually agreed because, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, I mean the sun, and it sticks with the Bible. It works. It works with the Bible, so it's interesting. Hey guys, I got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I got to anything
All
else?
right.
Anything? I'll hang for a minute if you want.
Nothing. We were just gonna speak about the eclipse because right now it's the eclipse happening, and yeah, there's the strange sun, and the sun is very white these days. Few things, yeah.
Yes.
However long you want, brother.
Well, I'll talk about the eclipse. We're having a meetup near Niagara Falls. Anybody that's here in America on the East Coast, you can find that video on my channel DITRH and look for the eclipse video. It should be within a row or two at the top, and it should be good. But the concern is the weather. What's the weather going to do? Are they going to chemtrail they literally chemtrail us into night here? It becomes so thick. The middle of the day, blue sky morning, and it's just thick clouds. But have you guys ever tried the boiling vinegar trick? You boil vinegar outside, and it causes a chain reaction and literally punches a hole in the sky. Crow and I have done it. It's crazy. So I bought white vinegar, the cheap stuff. You buy a couple gallons of it and just try it. So I'm trying to get everybody, imagine 100 people on the, in this area. And Crow and I were 3 hours apart and we saw a combined effect. Like it was crazy what happened.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was crazy.
We can communicate. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's a chain reaction, and it kind of makes sense to me. I don't understand the whole chemical thing of it, but I'm bringing a dozen gallons of vinegar, and I got a 10,000 BTU burner and some big tanks, and hopefully I'll get some other people to bring some tanks up there, and we can just burn vinegar, into the day before, into the night before, whatever. See what happens. I don't know. It's a good try. I can't wait.
I did see that they've already predicted full clouds the whole path except for Texas.
Yep.
Really?
I heard it over a month ago. They were calling for clouds. It's
and I was
cloudy on April 8th.
Yeah, no shocker, right?
Swear to God.
Wow. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on with this eclipse, man. Crazy.
Well, and that makes me wonder why Texas, right? Why do they want everyone to flock to Texas to watch it?
Yeah, what I wanted.
Good.
Just wanted to mention about the eclipse before you go. Right, this why if you see the 2017 eclipse, it was lined up to all the cities called Salem, right, where the word Jerusalem comes from, and the 2024 is going to pass from all the city called Nineveh or something like this, right? So the point is the eclipse very selective and going on these cities, or were these cities built on a path of eclipses?
I would go with the latter, but I can't rule out the first.
Ditto.
Right.
Have you guys seen what's going on with in Israel with the sacrifice of the red cow or whatever? Have you seen what's going on with that?
No.
God, guys, you got to look into it. It's crazy. Who was talking about it? Well, Jeff Berwick on his last video was talking about it, and then
shipped
also
from US. Yeah, they shipped from US, right?
Yeah, they shipped them from the US. So there's a special. They have the thing. You have to sacrifice this cow that could never have been in a harness, and it has to be a female. It has to have no spots on it, and it has the red fur. Just this crazy stuff. And they literally burn it alive off of this effigy at the temple of wherever they're doing it. it's like crazy, like Mayan stuff stories that we heard from the past. And
Wow.
like the Palestinians are freaking out that they're going to do this. And it like, no one's really paying attention to this. Watch Stu Peters. It was either today's or yesterday's or possibly the day before. And he talks about it right at the beginning. And or go to Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Berwick's page. I think it's his last video. And it's mind-blowing what they're doing. So that whole thing lining up with the eclipse and all of these towns named that stuff and all of the news saying stock up on food and gas. What? Wait, it's just two heavenly bodies passing each other. It's supposed to do nothing except maybe cause a high tide or something.
I saw that Netflix had the movie Noah, as in biblical Noah, was like the number 3 movie in all of Netflix. And then I also saw that Elon Musk posted something about an orange being the new lemon, which is in gematria goes to Jesus is coming back. There's so much craziness going on right now with it. And it's like,
wow.
Is it all just scare stuff because maybe there's some good positive energy coming from that eclipse and they're trying to counter it? Who knows?
Maybe. All right, guys. Peace. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
Good to see you, Dave. Thanks so much, bro.
See you, Dave.
See you guys. Bye.
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 So they're also saying that there are some people saying that this eclipse, the sun and the moon, this eclipse should be in Aries because we are almost in the spring equinox, but it's still in Pisces, right? So according to many amateur astrologers, the sky is also not making sense right now, right?
Well, yeah, if you look at, just looking from Dave's app even, they're on April 8th, the moon and the sun aren't supposed to be aligned. And, so that I think gives even more credence to us that it's not the moon causing the eclipse. I think they've changed that in the mainstream, though, because a lot of people figured that out. I even had someone saying they had screenshotted the fact that the moon and the sun, it wasn't in the mainstream, but if you did like a Starfinder app or any type of app like that, it would show that they were side by side on April 8th and not overlapped.
Exactly. And it is near on April 8th, the sun and moon are near, but they are not getting aligned to make eclipse, right?
Right.
Because the moon is supposed to be in the new moon, and in new moon it's not charged. The moon is 0. It's almost invisible.
The no moon.
Yep.
Exactly. So how is that happening? And the other aspect is also, if you see, it's only a 70-mile wide shadow going in a strip, right? It's a very local phenomena. Like if you literally speak about it, for example, Spain is right, north to south is maybe 1,000 kilometers, right? So the strip is of 100 kilometers or 70 miles. So it's very short, like it's very local, right? If the whole Spain is seeing the moon, and then that moon is eclipsed, or the sun or its eclipse had an eclipse and has a shadow, the whole Spain should see that shadow. Not only 170 miles strip is having that shadow. You guys get what I'm trying to say, that it's very local.
Yep. Yeah, and the moon in the heliocentric model is supposed to be 2,000 miles in diameter, and somehow that only cast a 70-mile shadow. It's like that alone should wake the people up, and it doesn't. It's mind-boggling.
If you ever notice, most of the cartoon images that are shown with the depiction of what's going on, they show the sunlight and then the moon, but the sunlight always comes down at an angle. It doesn't show what the true sun would do with the parallel rays.
Right.
Most of them show that conical sunlight at the moon, and then it shows the shadow on the earth.
The smaller shadow that a moon makes somehow, even though shadows are always bigger or the same size.
That's just crazy. And like an airplane's shadow any shadow can only get a certain amount bigger than the original object anyway. It has, I think it's called a diminishing point or something.
Yeah.
There's a point where, an airplane shadow is not going to cover, Long Island or something crazy. You
Right.
know, it's just, it only grows so big, and then it's just, I don't know what that is, but it's always bigger than the plane.
It's almost like the opposite of the inverse law of light. It's like the inverse law of shadow,
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. There's a formula to it. The same as with, you know, you take any object, a pencil, or, you know, like a red Solo cup. The size of the object diminishes at a certain rate. And I'm not sure what the rate is, but it's like, just like the inverse square law of light. Very similarly, everything just disappears from your view, and that's really all there is to it. You know, so if you held that cup on a wall and it was a white wall, you had a red cup. Sooner or later, you're only going to see a white wall.
I did a cool post. I thought it was cool, but it was literally just using my camera, and I had the Leaning Tower of Pisa up, and I was like talking about Chicago, and I was like, look, I can cover the whole Leaning Tower of Pisa just with my finger. You know, it's like, and then it's smaller, and then it's bigger. And the things we're not taught in school, you know, it's like we should be taught these things, and they're intentionally not taught so we don't figure out our reality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's used in art. It's yeah, go ahead, Gene.
Well, no, like you were saying before, you know, we're taught to trust these people, and we don't know enough to really question it, or maybe, you know, like for me, I was questioning things, but you know, eventually in Catholic school in the '70s, you got in trouble for this stuff. You know,
Oh yeah,
you're
for
out of
sure.
control now, kind of thing, and
Yeah, I bet.
so there are plenty of those questions, but it all goes back to, you know, um, that connection with the right voices in your head that are telling you what to look at, what to pay attention, what sticks in your memory. Those are flags put there by the spirits or God, whatever, you know, whoever it is. But they're there. They won't. They, you know, it's like almost like, let's compare it to like a farmer gathering so many sheep, and some of the sheep just don't want to go. They're not listening,
Yeah.
and the farmer's saying, "No, come on, come over here. There's nothing in that field for you. There's nothing over there, but you got to sometimes go figure it out for yourself."
That's one thing I've gotten really much better at it. And I don't even know if I should say better, because I don't know if I did it before, but I've gotten really good at it. Just like listening to that intuition, listening to that voice, asking for it. I was sitting right here and I was doing some meditation and some prayer, and I'd probably fasted for like 20 hours, and
Nice.
I was just asking God. I was about to go do a post, and I don't want to make this about TikTok, because like it's not about TikTok what I'm about to say, but I was asking for guidance in a post, and not because I care about views or likes or money or anything. It was, God, give me something to help people wake up to your reality, to you, God, like in your honor, give me. And like out of nowhere, I just had the pyramid and the stars. And this was before I really had even researched that much as a flat earther. And it just like, I hadn't thought, and just popped in, and I like did a post, and it got a million views. I was like, that was not me. That was God just like whispering, and I listened, you know?
That's exactly how it happens, bro.
Yeah.
It
It was
really
really,
Oh
really
is.
yeah,
cool.
Phenomenal.
absolutely, absolutely, brother. A big shout out to our brother Brian Odell for that awesome super chat, brother.
Oh, Brian, thanks, bro. That's so cool, man.
That's awesome. Hey, let
Yeah.
me
Oh
ask you
yeah.
guys, how long have you guys been awake to biblical cosmology, flat earth, whatever, true earth, however you guys phrase it?
Go ahead, Gene.
Okay. Yeah, sure, man. I guess right around the election with Clinton and Trump. It was right before that. I saw Joe Rogan posting things about flat Earth, and I thought it was hysterical. I'm like, ah, are you crazy? I was a big space fan, and then you know, I heard it again a couple weeks later, and I'm like, oh, haha. And then the third, fourth time, I'm like, what? Wait a second. He's why is, you know, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Everybody knows space is real, and the Earth's not flat, and it's been over for hundreds of years. And then so I try to debunk it, And at the time, I was fortunate enough at the time to catch a lot of great stuff going on. And I guess it was in between like guys like Mark Sargent, a little bit of him, Globebusters, what's that guy, Brian Mullen from Balls Out Physics was current. So in one morning I woke up and I'm like, I had enough. I didn't even see anything. And I woke up, I'm like, oh, that's it. I heard enough flat earth. I'm gonna go with my space understanding and show everybody because this will be easy.
Yeah.
And it was before the end of the afternoon. I was just like, the curtain just went boom, like at least halfway down. And I was already into the mud flood stuff and the giants and
Oh,
trying
wow.
to figure out how a 50-foot, 80-foot giant, how long would it take them to run across Florida and all these, like, I'm like, how is this, that kind
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff.
awesome.
So yeah, it was one day, bro. I was really lucky. And then I spent like a couple of years trying to figure out how to communicate this and understand it and be able to tell people, because I was just like, oh my god, water's not curving, wow, space,
Yeah.
the moon, the all of aliens, it
Yeah.
just was like, wow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of about it for me, man.
That's the one I look back at is the water. The water is just like, how do people like,
Water.
how do you not, I don't know. It mind boggles me that I believed water could curve over a globe for so long. It's
Nah, but you
literally,
know what? You didn't.
So
I don't know if you believed it because you were never presented it, so it just
yeah.
never crossed your mind,
Yeah.
man. It
Right.
just like, oh yeah, sure, of course. But then when you just don't try to defend it, guys. Go in there with an open mind and honesty and discernment and clarity and pray for stuff like that. And that's that communication within yourself that really kind of knocks barriers down, because that's not where we live, and it's all been twisted and perverted and distorted and kind of ruined, just like the buildings they ruin, and our connection to all of it has kind of been watered down and not taught. And if we're not taught, might not ever figure it out.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
oh yeah, brother. This big shout out to also I for the super chat, brother.
Wow, I thank you, bro. That's so cool. Very generous. Thank you. That's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. And this is the thing. I could say that I was around 2007, 16, and 17. I stumbled upon flat Earth, and yeah, I didn't needed anybody to prove me that the Earth is flat. I just saw that the word flat Earth, and I knew if the government is saying it's not flat, it's flat. That's
Oh,
it for me.
wow.
It was
That's
that
awesome.
was the most simple thing, right?
That's awesome.
And I was quite happy. Yeah, right. I was also into aliens before, right before I stumbled upon flat Earth. I was into aliens too,
Yeah.
and I also had an amazing experiences. I've seen amazing things. Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't. I had content ready to share it, but I didn't. I don't know why. And then I got into flat Earth, and from there I start taking it in a bit, and then start making my own content. I then made my groups on Facebook. So one of the groups we have is a World Flat Earth Association, which have 66. Almost we're going to be reaching 70,000 members
Wow. That's awesome.
soon. So
What
yeah,
do you want to
go ahead, bro.
elaborate on what you were talking about as far as the alien stuff, having
Oh
experiences with
yeah,
it?
oh yeah, absolutely. And I would also like that you would go into the near death experience later. Yeah. So yeah, I have had seen orbs. I have seen many different kind of orbs, and I whenever I see them moving above, or they look very conscious. They look like they're trying to say something. Like they know that we are aware of their presence. So it happened to me also that I'm literally trying to take images, and you don't see it in the mobile. Sometimes you're not seeing it in the
Mhm.
camera. You
Yeah.
can see it with your eyes, but you're not seeing it in the camera. And it happened to me recently. Also, it happened to me. I also shared with Gene some of the images of the lights, and all the dogs and all going crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, and also experiences, right? Like the same way the near death experience, you could also have out of body experiences, and in those experiences you might have some context or information, right? So that in that
Right.
sense also, uh, I had experience and seen strange things flying. If you really keep attention, when you believe in those things, and if you really pay attention, you see things, man. You freaking see things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was talking to someone just the other day, and um, he's talking to me about the clouds, and he's got a um, pretty interesting view of the world and what's just outside of us, and talking to me about just like, like we all obviously probably believe in giants that have been here, but he's talking about giants that are just outside the dome that look in at us. And I mean, as he's saying this to me, and I'm on a golf course, and he's telling me that sometimes you see them in the clouds because it's like they're looking in, and just the interaction of their body heat and whatever the firmament is gives that some sort of cloud or vapor. And I mean, there is one cloud in the entire view of my sight on this golf course, and it's perfectly blue day, and I look up, and I mean, it is the clearest cloud face just looking at me, like almost like someone was peeking in at me above the firmament. And I was like, and my mind is just boggled sometimes of what I used to think this place is or was compared to what it actually is. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, and the pareidolia, as we say, in the nature, in minerals, in water, in waterfalls, in trees, there are
Yeah.
sometimes this kind of communication of you see beings, animals, people, right, looking through you through this, right? If you have the people when they have eyes to see, you can see this in the nature.
Yeah,
It's the way the
absolutely.
nature, it's the way the nature communicates.
Yep.
Sometime.
So have you had a near death experience personally?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
intentional, like out of body experience. Not, I think it's the same thing, right? Out of
Gotcha.
body experiences. Uh, I think that. Oh yeah, from last 20 years, from past 20 years, I've been having out of body experiences.
So like astral travel
Right?
type.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
astral travel. Yeah,
I had been
and
talking to someone a couple weeks ago that literally was dead for 5 or 10 minutes. They broke their neck, and it was interesting talking to him. Probably a lot of the same stuff you've experienced.
oh yeah, out of body experience or done by accident, happening in an accident or a near death experience is the way of realizing the same thing that a human is capable of, this out of body experience, right?
Yeah.
Because what we are in reality, we aren't just this physical body, right? We all say we have physical and we have spirit inside, we have the soul, right? We all imagine how it feels, we can even sense it sometime, all good. But until
Yep.
you won't have that out of body experience or that near death experience, you really don't know the difference between the body and the spirit. That is the moment when you realize that you are immortal and light, because you experience that real feeling of detaching from your body, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't. I think I've had some very close, and I don't know if there's even close or not close, but um, as I was going through my awakening, I had a lot of sleep paralysis, and each sleep paralysis episode I had, every one I was in grips with some sort of being, a shadow being. One time it was a woman, and it was like I had never experienced. And the first time it was I was falling through blackness, and like you said, I know the difference between a dream and a nightmare, and this wasn't either of those. I was literally falling through blackness, wrestling with, like, clawing at a shadow being's face, and I woke up just stiff as a board, fully conscious. Tried to yell my wife's name and couldn't even mumble. So that was a terrifying experience the first time, and then just kind of made sure I got right with the Lord and got a Bible next to my bed and put a cross on, and haven't really had too much of those since.
Have you ever tried lucid dreaming?
I have, yeah. A couple times um, I've accomplished it. I was messing with that around the same time I was having those experiences, and those experiences were at the time terrifying, and it was at the same time I was calling stuff to me. So I was like, am I inviting bad things to me, like bad spirits, bad demons, whatever? So I kind of like put an end to that stuff, but I had definitely gotten to the point where I was doing some lucid dreaming, flying, and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But
Mm.
every time I would do it where I knew where I would take control and be able to control it, it wouldn't last long. It'd be like just a few moments where, and then it was almost like I became alert that I was doing it, and it like snapped me out of it. But man, it's crazy stuff when you make it happen.
Oh, it really is. And it's easy to trigger that stuff too. I don't know if you practice during the day, a couple of things you do to trigger it at night.
No.
And there's a couple of things I'd throw them by you if you ever want to like look into it again. And
Yeah.
some of the things you might want to do to trigger lucid dreaming would be during the day, several times, many times you want. Do stuff like you poke yourself in the hand and you tell yourself, okay, I'm not dreaming because I can feel my hand.
Yeah.
Or you might turn a light on, flick the light on a couple times and tell yourself these, okay, I'm not in a dream because the light is working. Or a water faucet might work. Let the water run on your hand, tell yourself, okay, I feel the water. So what happens is when you do this, you trigger yourself to do it while you're sleeping. And if you do any of those things while you're sleeping, that you don't react the same way. Your hand will go right through your hand.
Oh,
You won't
interesting.
feel the water. It'll go
Yeah.
through. The switch works differently, and it'll trigger you to say, "Oh, I'm not awake. I'm in a
Okay.
dream." And then you can sometimes take it from there.
The one technique I was using when I was doing it was like trying to rub a little bit like as I'm falling asleep, because that, and I think that's when I got it. I think I had like a little piece of like silk, and I was just rubbing it, because then when you fall asleep, you notice you're still doing that. It worked.
Cool.
But I'll try that stuff. That sounds interesting. Now that I'm to the point where that stuff doesn't scare me anymore. It scared me for a little bit.
And then also when you're going to sleep, you talk to yourself, tell yourself you're going into the dream state. You can ask for things, but I will also throw in there. I kind of dropped it too a while back, because I ran into I'm gonna say it, but I ran into a giant. I was across the street from my house, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the woods. My house is, and you have that 360 view. You don't need to turn around to look.
Yeah.
My house was behind. I saw the lights behind me. I was going that way, and that way is like further into the woods. I'm surrounded by mountains or whatever, but um, and next thing you know, like a 20-foot giant ran out of past my house the other way, across the street, and grabbed me and was tying me to his leg. Like if it
Jeez.
was in a knife bootstrap. And I'm like, all right, I give up. I quit him out.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I kind of stopped after that. I was like, I'll get back to that some other time. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, man. Yeah, that might that would do it too. What would you guys say, like, if you had to say a difference between lucid dreaming and astral travel? Would you just say it's like, one, you're actually leaving your body, and the other is you're just taking control of a dream state?
What is happening in astral travel or out of body experience is that everything that exists, right, in materialistic form, we think that is everything is material because we perceive it like this, because we can touch it. But in reality, everything is energy and frequency and vibration at core level,
Right.
right? Everything is vibrating at a different frequency, right? So the lower the frequency, the denser the material, right? So what happens during an astral travel, how is it possible, is because anyway, through meditation or through breathing or through psychedelics or by accident, near death experience. So what is happening is that you're vibrating really high, and when you vibrate really high, you are less dense. So once you are less dense, you are almost like light. So you are connecting with frequencies around you that exist, which we cannot see with these two eyes that is given to us, right? To see what is happening is, you when you see these astral realms or these realms beyond or these out of body experiences, you are seeing through your real eyes, through your pineal gland, right?
Yeah.
That is the real teaching in all the cultures, or all the religion about, is to find that anointment, that oil within the Christos, right? The To find the Christ within is to open that eye, right? And see this. So this is what is happening. You become light, and once you become light, the dimensions that exist around us, which normally we don't see, the veil, the fabric becomes thinner, and you can access this. So there are these kind of experience, which could be negative, positive, harmonic, disharmonic, dark or light, any kind of, everything is possible to have an experience in this kind of astral projection or out of body experience or near death experience. It's the same thing said in a different way. Many
Gotcha.
people all over the life are doing meditations in the Himalayas, or in the temples, or in their church or mosque. All they're trying to do is get to the divine light, right? Even if we go in Christianity, we see that the cross, what it represents, the Trinity, right? The polarity. Once you accept that polarity on the left and right of the cross, then you go to the divine, that line going ahead in the middle of the cross. That's what it really means, right? To get that polarity together and go to that divine. And it's important for us to get that polarity together, because we have the right and the wrong, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, the feminine, the masculine, the sun and the moon, right? Everything is within us, right? That's how the toroidal field works, and it exists because of that, right? So we all are that toroidal field. We all are this magnetic vibration, that is every cell and atom that exists is having that, right? So getting to that form of light and that vibration can show you and the real creation of this divine, right? Because we are so illusioned by this consumerism and this materialistic world that we are ready to destroy everything for it, for resources, for everything. We are ready to contaminate, we are ready to destroy this earth, this beautiful nature, this beautiful mother earth. We are ready to destroy, we are ready to kill every race there is for these resources, right? Because that's where we have materialized everything. Once the human race understand that nothing is materialistic, then is only going to come the deliverance or salvation, if you want to call it.
It's hard work, man, but I think we're all doing it. I think so.
Yeah, people, you know, the world is so thin. The products, the food, the air is so watered down. And you could buy something, buy two, throw them both away at this point in this world, and we've come so far backwards with quality of everything in the physical world. The people are I think, way willing to accept more of the not so physical world. And when they get these communications going on, it's easier for them to see, for people to see that they're not just coincidences, that maybe we are being spoken to, and there's something, they're like remote control. The air is connecting all of us. We're figuring that out. We're really learning this stuff. My thoughts are right there. You're the fitness guy, and I wanted to say to you that for years I try to mentally project health and well-being to all my friends, everybody in this realm, of all of their food products right now, right at any given moment, are all different stages of seed, babies, if you eat meat or whatever, from the smallest part to the production line or whatever it is, a farm, wherever you are. But I put that blanket of wellness through all of those people and all of those plants and all of those animals who are on their way to your table. And that's just, sometimes I think about it more, and I think about yesterday when I wasn't thinking about it, but my
Yeah.
thought was there, and tomorrow when I'm busy and my thought's not there, it'll be there, because that's how I just project things. I want my family, my brothers and sisters, to be healthy and have well-being in their body, in their mind, and in their spirit. And I'll never change off my attitude towards that, towards humanity.
And I'm right there with you. I'm very similar in that. I think I need to get better at projecting that and trying to um, manifest it without doing it in a physical way or a verbal way.
Mm.
And that's, I've mentioned a few times, but half the reason I struggle with my family is because I just care about them so much, and there's a few things that I feel like they're misguided on just because they haven't seeked the truth on it. And, things like, getting vaccines and things like that, they're still would line up tomorrow and get. And it's, just like, unfortunately, I, like I said earlier, I fire hosed them and it turned them off. So even when I'm seeing things in the sky and having videos of it, there's no validation of anything I'm seeing, because they're of the mindset I used to be, that we're just in a physical world and God isn't
Oh,
real. And,
oh yeah, brother. Even you cannot expect from anybody, especially from the family, and like you have to let everybody have their own stage of evolution. You have done your part by saying it few times,
yeah,
right? Right, because even in the future, even if it's something happened, they're gonna blame you. So you love them, you're compassionate of them, you wanna, even if it's your closest family members, right? You have done your job to say it one time or few times, right? But we all have to understand that everyone is in a different stage of evolution. It could be the closest people to you, right?
yeah,
In that
yeah,
sense, we know we want good for them. We want that they are on the right track, right? And that they see the lies, and they, because we do take life decisions of what we think, right? And when we think that the earth is a globe, we are not taking the right decision in life too, right?
right,
In that
right.
sense, you want them to wake up, right?
Yep,
But
yep.
there are some that they are supposed to go through this, what they are going to. Maybe in the future they wake up, maybe.
And I know that now. It just took me a while to get there. I don't ever really, I shouldn't say ever really, I don't push things on people anymore. I think I definitely did, but I've gotten to that spot where I can't wake anybody up unless they are seeking that. So it just took me a while to figure that out, because I've always just been like a bull in the china shop type of guy, and unfortunately, I broke a lot of bowls.
That's great. But Tyler, some of the things you're probably presenting are what I've been calling, through my experience, home runs, slam dunks. This got them. Water. Oh my God, it's easy. I was like, oh, water didn't work for this one. Kind of. It's like,
Yeah,
oh man, where do you go? That's when I kind of figured that everybody needs to get hit from their own perspective, their
yeah,
own
right.
curiosity, or our weakness, or their soft spot, wherever it is.
Yep, for sure. And mine apparently was dogs and stars.
Pluto.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
we all bring something to the table, right? Yeah, so yeah, and it's help for the breaking up apart the globe, right?
And
Absolutely, bro.
and you know what? I'm so glad I waited to watch your guys' movies, because now that I know you and have chatted with you, it's gonna just be that much more enjoyable to go watch those.
That's great, bro.
I can't wait. Can't
Awesome.
wait. I
That's
might
so
go turn it
cool.
on right after this.
Oh
I
yeah,
could picture
absolutely.
you on TikTok with Flatten the Curve in the background talking. You're gonna find such cool stuff in both of them. I'm in the second one, but honestly, man, Flatten the Curve is still one of my absolute favorite documentaries about what a flat Earth.
Awesome.
It really is.
would you guys recommend one first versus the second, or which one first?
The first,
does-
the flatten the curve, and then the mechanical rumble. That's the
Okay.
order it was
Gotcha.
produced.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. You mentioned before, brother. Before we have of some time left. You mentioned about that out of body experience, or you had a near death experience. Like literally, you had some kind of uh incident, or
No. I was talking to I made buddies with a guy who had I was talking to with weeks because I was just so curious about the near death experiences, and he broke his neck and was literally dead for like 5 minutes, no heart rate, no pulse. So I was talking to him, but no, not me personally. No.
all right. Oh yeah, we as flat earthers we have to be, or even as human being, as curious we are, we should be open for everything,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Everything that the what is had for the nature have for us, because maybe we understand a lot about this realm, but there are still things that we might never know, right? So, and I think we humans are we learning till our last breath. There will be things to learn, right? So
And
that's the best part.
it's so much fun too. Like part of me has been trying, like my brothers and I have always just shared things like, hey, this movie was funny, this is cool, this, and like I feel like I'm at a point where I can't share the things that I'm really enjoying with them. And that's one of the things that sucks worst about it is, I lost two people that they would be the first two I'd always send things that I found fascinating to, and they just don't want to know anything of it. And like learning is so much fun again. Like once you figure out all the lies and that the history you were taught that was really boring isn't real history and there were giants here. I mean, like it's a fascinating place. And
It's
Dave,
so
Oh
David,
yeah.
cool.
David says it all the time. Like you're never bored as a flat earther, and it's so
Mhm.
true.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So many rabbit holes open, right? We did a whole series of cosmologies. We took every cosmologies of this planet, of this Earth, and we expanded on it. Like all the information there is about those cosmologies. Man, it's crazy. It's all giants. The way the Earth is formed, it's crazy stuff.
So
All the
crazy.
movies, all the games, everything comes from these cosmologies. Everything,
Yeah,
the Star
absolutely.
Wars, the Star Trek, the Avatar, the games of different ones. It's crazy. The names of the characters, the
Minecraft.
places, the realms, everything is ripped off from those
Oh,
cosmologies.
oh yeah, 100%.
And even a step next to that is like everything being offered by the mainstream is a cheap ripoff of our potential. Like the phones, I think we could, we could send pictures to each other instantaneously, and I think our thoughts could be work just like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the pictures could be sent, the information could be sent. Even locality between us could be, you know, shortened up by certain vibrational changes within us. It's just like the animal kingdom. I think that they could have put a veil between us, and the communication is far less than what it used to be between us and the animals and the plants as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how many four-leaf clovers I find because those freaking things call me. The plants talk to me.
Yeah.
And I've found them right in front of people. We're talking about it. I'm like, oh wait, and I'll kind of just zone in, and it's right there. It is, guys. I can't explain that, but I like to talk about it because the more people might experience that or might try to, and it's available. It's available to all of us.
Well, and I think, I obviously once you go down the rabbit holes at all, you realize they're poisoning us on like every front. But I really think a big part of that is to potentially, calcify our pineal gland. And if they're hitting us from the water, they're hitting us from the sky, they're poisoning us from our food. Like I think, like you said, I think we've got some abilities that have been stunted. Even taking wisdom teeth out is a connection to the pineal gland and the
Oh
spirit.
yeah,
And
oh yeah.
I think I had this thought the other day that there's talking about movies, is that with this eclipse coming up, I can't remember what movie or TV show it was, but it's like there's something where a blast from the sun gives these people all the superpowers. And I'm like, maybe something like that's coming. And that's why they're trying to fearmonger so much, because there's a big positive blast of energy coming and they're doing everything they can to counter it. And maybe that's why they're hiding in their bunkers, and because they're not afraid of the next reset. They're afraid of us.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
hopefully
yeah,
there's good
we
reason.
exactly. We humans are capable of more than we could imagine, right? The human is, but that's what, as you say, they're trying that we don't get to the senses apart from those five senses, right? Have you guys heard about the gateway process?
I'm not
No.
sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna be doing a whole podcast on that. Okay, it was declassified by the CIA, right? Have you heard guys heard about remote viewing?
Yeah.
So remote viewing is just one part of that project.
Okay.
The human is capable of doing things. This is all like scientific research done by people, right? And it was classified, right? So imagine how much detail there is. We're going to be doing a whole podcast on that, and it's about this. It's about astral projection. It's about how to get the real essence of you, right? This is real scientific stuff. Doing there's no like fantasy or anything like this. So using the energy, frequency, and vibration of the beings, and you connecting to the etherical body of the round, and getting information, getting telepathic information, getting visual information, uh, and many other things. This is amazing stuff, right?
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
want that the people to understand that the human being is capable of, right? Like there are numbers, which is if there is somebody who's is in pain, you touch that person and you say that number, and it would go away even by yourself, right? So it's all a human body in itself, right? So that's why the numerology, the astrology is also kind of codes, right? So they understand a lot of this, right? These people know exactly. That's why they represent that the people don't use it, right? And call it demonic, call it
Yeah.
whatever, because they
Right.
don't want the people to understand that a human being is capable of doing these things. So for sure, in the near future, we're going to be doing a podcast on that. It's called Gateway Process.
Cool.
Cool. That sounds awesome. It's funny.
Definitely
I
cool.
I have as I was waking up and going down the rabbit holes of aliens, I was reading a book. Ingo, have you heard of Ingo Swann? He's a he's supposedly a really famous remote viewer that worked for the government. But so I'm going through this and I'm really believing in remote viewing. But then they talk about how this guy that was a CIA government guy could remote view, but then they're talking about him remote viewing Mars. So then, and talking about seeing aliens and things on Mars. So then I wake up to flat Earth and I'm like, oh, remote viewing's total hoax and nonsense because I know Mars isn't a planet. So, but I think along the way I'm like, oh no, viewing is real. It was just the aspect of remote viewing Mars that was their lie.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and
that's the
that's what
gatekeeping.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
ex- that's what they do with many things, brother. If you really see, they do this with many things. That's why the people go off. Also with different kind of technologies, right?
Yep.
They do the
Yep.
same thing. They add that fake sci-fi into it.
Yep.
The same thing they do with the Sumerians and all the technology. They
Yes.
always say
Yeah.
it's the aliens. Why?
Yeah.
Because the Sumerian, if you really dig into it, it's a totally a geocentric stationary cosmology
Yeah.
creation story.
Yep. They got me with the moon. The moon for sure. That's like I don't have a problem admitting when I'm wrong. Like if I'm wrong, like I'll own it. Be like, sorry, I was wrong. Before I woke
Exactly.
up to flat Earth, I definitely thought the moon was a space station because like it's what they do. They let you think you're having this hidden truth or that aliens were on the moon. They let you think that, and that stops you from getting the real truth that the moon isn't something you can send a rover or a rocket to. So since I've come to flat Earth, I don't feel like there's been something I've had to go back and be like, I was wrong about that, because flat Earth really just reveals everything. Like, it just takes the veil fully off, and you guys know that.
Yeah, it's a treasure to get to it.
Yes, it really
You know,
is.
it definitely is. And my favorite part is, we covered it already, but is the freedom of mind that gives you this spiritual freedom, and the connection within, to keep that conversation in your head good.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and like, when you talk to the universe talks back to you also, that kind of idea. It really does. It really does.
Absolutely.
It's
Just took
magic.
me 42 years to figure that out.
That's cool, man.
Better late than
That's
never,
cool,
right?
bro.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
almost, so there's almost no history now, it's all over. You start
Yep.
a whole new page, and that's a wonderful thing, bro.
It's
You know?
been a wild ride. I wouldn't change it. Like, I've lost friends, I've struggled with relationships, but I still wouldn't change it for where I'm at right now. Not for anything.
No, no way. No way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah, we all have to keep going, right? Sometimes it gets difficult, sometimes you
Yeah.
are like, I can't do this anymore. But yeah, we all have to uh, continue, because I think, yeah, we are what we think, right? And when we think that the earth is flat, we applying it every day to day to our life, right? The way we are with the people around us, in our communities, our uh, right, the neighborhood or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, we try
Right.
to put that vibration there, right? And yeah, flat earth is coming in like hard on people, and people, even if the people don't want to see, it's coming in the face, right? And as I said, even David Weiss, and also I've been on many podcasts, and the people are waking up, man. The people are just waking up. So that's great. That's amazing. So keep doing what you do. And Tyler, the Fittest flat earther, absolutely. The links is in the description. You can find him on TikTok. His videos are all over Facebook, Instagram, like short clips. Amazing. So check him out and also check out his page, flat earth, fittestflatearther.com, right? I think it's the link in the description too.
Yeah.
So yeah, brother, we will
Yeah.
be having our last thoughts, and we will be wrapping out for tonight, guys. So tell us the way we people, if you want to say something to the people, brother, some messages before.
No, you threw my things out there, and I just want to thank you guys. I always appreciate having the opportunity to talk to some like-minded people, and some people that don't judge me for my beliefs. And so I appreciate you guys inviting me on. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I can't wait to go watch those two films you guys did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there you have it, Fittest flat earther, brother. So Gene, brother, last thoughts.
Yeah, what a great conversation. I'm always happy to be here with everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much. We love you all for spending your time with us, hanging out, for all the different conversations. We leave no rock unturned on our pursuit of the truth here, guys. And Tyler, it was a pleasure to meet you, bro. It was super great conversation, man. I love what you're having to say here, bro. And congratulations on your TikTok, man. That's really cool stuff, man. And any
Thank you.
any outlet, who cares? Look what they do with the news. I go on the news and be talking about this if I could. The worst outlet ever. I would love to get on there and do that. So
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, brother. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you soon, man. Come back anytime.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. I appreciate you guys greatly.
Thank you. Thanks. Same here, bro. It's, as the flat earth community and the truth community grows, it also shrinks. It's a kind of weird dichotomy how it's doing both right at the same time.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. That it was great to have you, Tyler. We will be saying goodbyes later after we finish the stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And yeah, do check out Tyler on TikTok, and we might also be seeing Tyler on TikTok in the lives. We are a few days there on TikTok too, right? So we are trying to grasp the live, how the lives are working, because Gene even made Nathan Thompson addicted to TikTok. Nowadays, he's always there on TikTok in those lives, trying to argue with Glovers. The people. Yeah, it's a way to spend time, but it's also a good way to learn and expand on things. So it's great. So yeah, brother, thank you so much for being here and show we in contact and keep doing what you do, brother. Your videos are freaking awesome. You're reaching a lot of people. Yes, brother. So,
Thank you
yep,
so much.
we're gonna see us around on different platforms. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Keith, and thanks to David Weiss also for passing by. And thanks to everybody in the chat. And yeah, for all that super chat. And please do come back, every one of you. Yeah, we see a lot of new names here. And do subscribe. And for definitely we are having more amazing guests like Tyler. We've been having a streak of amazing guests, and we are going to continue. We're going to try to continue this streak of amazing people here on Heliopsychosis podcast. So thank you, guys. This is Vikka Draziv signing out. See you in the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good
Good night, guys. Bye. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Peace.